Joes.
Welcome to the Regular Joe's podcast. I'm Dave Pisani.
I'm Barry Kay.
And I'm Todd Pleasant.
Something completely different this week. Not really. We're going to talk two different alien things. Alien/aliens things. Yeah, there's new alien stuff. So we're going to talk about it. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, with all the franchises we love, this is the one that there isn't that much from, and when there is, it's not usually that good. So
right.
We're excited to have some new stuff.
Because I think, like I said, it's one of those things where, we'll get.
Yeah,
there.
it is a franchise. Yet, we'll dig into that. Are there franchises with less good stuff than Aliens? I'll write that question down. But anyway, we'll talk about that. What else? We'll do some what's in the box and other stuff. What else? What did we talk about last week? I don't even remember.
So, hey, where are you guys on Tree Body Problem?
Finished it.
I've seen 5.
You have.
Yes.
I finished it.
I did too. Okay.
All right, so stop. Wait for me.
Okay.
Todd loves talking about you if you haven't seen it.
But was 5 not one of the coolest things you've ever seen?
I'm trying to think of what happened in 5.
You don't remember what happened in 5.
5 was the filament.
Five was
oh my God, that was
the
crazy.
Panama
execution
Canal.
of the filament.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That was the thing.
Spoilers.
When I read it, we're not spoiling it. When I read it in the book, I was like, "There's no way they can do this," and without it looking really bad, and it looked awesome.
I also don't think they needed to do that, but whatever.
Hey,
It seems like a very extreme way to say it.
They did it in
You
the
couldn't
book.
sneak aboard the ship and knock everybody out. You had to
Don't spoil
slice
it.
and dice them all.
Now you're spoiling it. Okay.
Yeah.
I said spoilers.
Yeah. So the thing, and this came across more in the book than it did in this, was they needed it to be like immediate. Okay, they needed to like be immediate, so they could not communicate what was going on to the aliens. So they needed to stop them, immediately. But
That wasn't
also
very immediate.
I'm just saying.
3 or 4 minutes to get from beginning
Not
to
to
end.
mention
But
that
still
the
have,
hard drive.
but not blow the ship up because they still wanted to be able to salvage stuff from it.
They wanted in the show they wanted the hard drive, and the hard drive almost got sliced.
The hard drive
in half.
almost got sliced. They talked in the book about hard drives being horizontal, and the likelihood that the hard drives in the machines would survive. Okay. The other thing was they thought the communications room was at the front of the ship in the book, and that was going to be the first place that got taken out.
Well,
You could have set off an EMP and dropped nerve agent on everybody. You didn't need
it
to
would
do
not
what
have
you
looked as cool as this.
No,
Oh,
it was
well, that's
visually
all right.
amazing, but when you really think, it's one of the few things on this whole show that I'm like, if you really think about what they just did, this makes no sense.
It
But
made no
it
sense.
was
I think
amazing.
It was awesome, and I think it was awesome, and I think you sell the planet out to aliens, you got it coming to you. That's what. Yeah.
I'm not saying they didn't have
you,
the coming
you deserve to be run through the big cheese slicer.
except maybe
okay,
the children, but
yeah.
it,
Well, and-
it was a little.
All right, so we're completely in spoiler territory now, but like, okay, so the Miles O'Brien's wife sells them out
Yep.
in the very beginning, but what this guy did was way worse.
Oh, I agree.
Because he's the one that got them to decide that we weren't worth coexisting with.
Because he's basic, because hubris. He's pretty much like, he's stupid, really stupid. Yeah.
So,
I think
without spoiling anything, thoroughly enjoyable season 1. I really hope they get renewed and that they make the rest of this thing.
Yeah, because they're about 25% of the way through the first book. So there's a long way to go.
That for me. That's not true. No. I'm 25% of the way. I'm like 35% into the book. and this is already beyond.
I
I didn't
that-
even get to this point.
But I thought that I read that each season was going to be a book.
No, this
You're
definitely
saying
is
that-
not. Boy, if this is a book, no, this isn't.
All right, let's hold that until I finish it.
Okay, fair enough.
You know what you have to watch, especially you, Death and Other Details. Barry, have you started it?
No.
Because they canceled it already, so don't
What?
watch it.
I've never even heard of it.
Sure,
It's the Mandy Patinkin thing.
It's
Oh,
the
okay.
yeah.
It was okay. But anyway, let's go some random other than that.
Okay.
Barry, what do you got?
So, and some of this is old information, but I just read an article that said that Variety has confirmed there are 3 separate Star Trek movies in development. So there's Star Trek 4, which we know we've heard about, and they've got a new screenwriter for that, the guy that wrote The Flight Attendant, Stephen Yaki.
Yep.
Then there's a prequel film in development, and it's being directed by Toby Haynes, who directed Andor.
Yep.
And it's being written by Seth Grahame-Smith.
Yep.
And that
That
project
guy wrote a couple books and some
he's-
movies.
Yep.
said that the project is the origin story that takes place decades before the 2009 Star Trek film. So it's the origins of Starfleet, I guess. I've not heard anything about that one.
I haven't heard anything
Yeah.
about that either.
And
And then the third project apparently was announced back in 2021. I don't remember us ever talking about it. A woman named Colinda Vasquez. She's written on Discovery, and she was the co-executive producer on Fear the Walking Dead. So she's working on something. But this is what I thought was interesting. The article said she got her name from the Star Trek original series character from the second season episode By Any Other Name in 1968. There was a character named Colinda. But what it didn't say was, were her parents Star Trek fans and that's why they named her that? Or did she just choose to use that as her professional name? It seems very odd. That they're making the claim that her name was chosen from a Star Trek episode.
it was probably her parents. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see. Potentially
So
3 Star Trek movies.
my thing is actually a little bit of an update on that. And so on TrekCore today, they announced that Paramount Pictures is moving on from Star Trek 4, announcing instead Star Trek 5. And because there's been so many failed starts for Star Trek 4, they're going to do what Windows did, where they're skipping over Windows 9. They're just going from Windows 8 to Windows 10.
Now, was this happen to be because as we record
And
this,
then
it is
and
April
then they
Fool's
said
Day?
Timothy Chalamet is cast as the role of Cybok. So
Oh, Jesus.
this is
Happy April Fool's Day.
this was their April Fool's post, but it was actually, I thought that was pretty good. In recognition of the fact that, like I said, they've failed to launch on Star Trek 4 so many times, they're just going ahead to do Star Trek 5 instead. Similarly, there's an article on another site that is saying that the next Batman film, the Batman Part 2, is actually going to be 2 parts, and that will be released 6 months apart, and with the second part coming out on April 1st, 2027. So anyways, at least
That's not true.
some people still keeping the tradition of the April Fool's posts open. So
Something that is real, Fanboy Collectibles now. There was a picture of Section 31 movie
Yep.
that came out. So I think they should be done filming. They said they started in January and they were going to go through the end of March. So there was a picture of Michelle Yeoh and some dude. Not that I have a problem with it. I'm surprised. We heard about that a long time ago. It was going to be a series, and then it was. I'm surprised they moved forward with that. So I'm glad it's a movie.
Yeah.
I just don't think we needed another series that has potential to be bad.
yeah,
So that would be interesting. That there would be sort of streaming movies, you know.
yeah. It's also interesting.
And they could do more of that.
One of the things I read in one of the articles is that they have a. Did you read about this? About the legacy character that's going to be in there?
No.
No.
Okay. So supposedly, and this was pre-April 1st when I read this, they're going to have a young version of Rachel Garrett, who is the
Oh,
who is the
Enterprise
captain
C.
of the Enterprise C. Timing on that doesn't quite work unless Rachel Garrett is like in her 80s.
But like that's the other thing. What timeline
And
is
that's what I'm wondering
Giorgio
is
in?
when, she comes back from the future, okay? So it doesn't necessarily mean she comes back to the same time that she left. So,
I know we forget that, or we don't forget, maybe forget that Discovery started in the pre.
Yeah, Discovery started pre-TOS. And
it
now
did, but she was in the 30th century, and then she came back, or whatever century.
Wait, so
yeah,
Rachel Garrett existed right before Next Generation,
about
right?
10. I think it's about 10 by timeline, about 10 years before TNG.
Yeah, because their uniforms were earlier.
Right. Well, they were. Yeah. So I think it was 10 to 15 years before TNG. So
maybe she comes back to a different time. Who the hell knows?
Yeah. So
that's interesting.
yeah,
The-
I think
how
that'd
they
be cool.
shoehorn stuff.
It was kind of an interesting character, and
I'd like to explore like stuff like this with like a what's the word I'm looking for? So not a low stakes movie. Star Trek 4, $250 million. It's got everyone in it. High stakes. Stuff like this, lower stakes. So
yeah, and if it's not good, you didn't invest an entire season of it, and B, you just wait for the next one, and maybe it'll be better. Like
one of the Discovery Star Trek novels focuses on her character, and it's really good. And she puts this basically this group of, I don't want to say Starfleet washouts, but basically people that for some reason are tangentially connected to Starfleet, but not officially. And one of them is an earlier version of the Dax Trill, okay? And then the other one is Kirk's nemesis from the Academy. Is Finnegan? Yeah.
Finnegan.
And what's that?
Yeah, Finnegan.
And who is a jerk, both a jerk and a cool character. And it's actually a pretty good story. So like I said, I think there's potential out there. And they could do some good stuff with it. So,
are either of you remotely excited about the fact that the final season of Discovery starts this week?
Boy, I'll tell you,
it starts this week.
It starts this week.
The 4th, right?
It does. Thursday, 2 episodes.
So as you're hearing this, it's already out there, people.
It's
Did
already
we talk
out there.
about that? I wrote a thing about that 2 weeks ago, and I don't think.
I mentioned it a couple weeks ago saying, hey, isn't it starting soon? But I don't think we talked about it.
Here's a quote from the showrunner that I wrote down. She claims, or whoever it is, I don't remember who it is now, it's an Indiana Jones style adventure.
Of course it is.
I'll tell you,
That's a bold statement.
the ads and stuff like that, it's like, yeah, you really want to say that in a year when an Indiana Jones film lost $150 million. But, yeah, the ads look like very kind of like, I don't want to say Amazing Race, but you know what I'm saying? It's just this kind of contrived
Hopefully
thing.
it's not all like, the computer has feelings. But it's
just like
let's let it blow up the ship.
contrived
That's
thing
what
with
it feels
MacGuffin
like.
that they've got to hunt down, and hopefully it's better than it's just.
But they're going to be doing all that with that same group of characters who all have so many feelings.
Hey, but it looks like Tilly's back, so that's a good thing. So,
all right. Well, we'll have something to talk about at least, whether in a
Exactly,
good or bad way. Maybe we'll be surprised. You know me; I'm a glass almost full guy.
And in the same week as that, Jonathan Frakes came out and said the Strange New World episode that he directed is his favorite thing for this coming season. Is his favorite thing he's ever done. So,
and I trust him.
And I do.
I trust him.
He's not saying that about the Discovery episode, but he's saying So
it starts the 4th?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I guess I have to watch it.
Yeah. So
any other random?
Yeah, I was just going to mention one thing quick. This past weekend, an actor named Chance Padermo died, and he was in the Boys spinoff, and he was in the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. Really talented young guy, and it's just a really kind of sad thing.
Like 27 or something. I don't know the guy, but 27 or something.
No, but
horrible.
I don't know if you watched the Boys spinoff. It was good. It wasn't as good as the Boys, but guy with, just like I said, a ton of charisma, a ton of talent, and somebody would have really gone somewhere. It's just kind of a sad thing. So
Yeah, it's a shame, especially when they're so young.
One of these kind of Anton Yelchin kind of things where it's just like a senseless, stupid senseless thing. Just cuts a really promising career short and a life and just So kind of sad. So usually we talk about a lot of old people that pass, and like I said, it's really sad to see something like this. So
totally.
Yep. But
I'll say something else before we go to family.
Do that. Please bring us back before we do.
Here's something
bring
I
that level
read,
back
which
up. Dave, sorry.
Supposedly Scarlett Johansson is looking to star in the next incarnation of Jurassic World. Like, why would she do that? Like, you're better than like a third time around franchise. Don't you think?
T-Rex size check.
That,
guess,
or maybe she's seen the script and maybe she thinks it's going to be amazing, but seems unlikely.
Would you want to be? I mean, you could name 10 important, in whatever context, actresses in this day and age. She's probably on that list.
But I also wonder, and
she
this
could
is
do better.
Pure speculation, but did she burn a lot of bridges with her lawsuit against Disney, and maybe she's not getting offered the roles that she should or could be getting offered?
I don't think so. I think there was also there was a acknowledgement that
they thought they were wrong too.
They were wrong, and I think I don't think if this were somebody else, I would say yes, she burned. If this was the woman from the Mandalorian or something like that, I'd say yes.
No, Gina Carano.
Gina Carano, but this is somebody with a lot of clout behind her, and they were wrong. And I think that a lot of people in the industry were very glad she did this, and so no, I don't think so. I mean,
I just
maybe wrong.
Thought that was a little odd.
Yeah. I also think they need that franchise at the very least. They need to do something different, and
I think it could rest for a little while. And
that could be the different thing. But like I said, they
thought
need to move
ones
away
they
from what
did
they've
were
been doing
all
and
pretty
find
good.
Yeah. So
even the last one was fine.
The first one was the best of the three, I thought.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think the second one was the weakest one, and then this last one, which I couldn't tell you for a second anything that happened in it, but I remember seeing it on a plane and thinking, oh, that's not nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be.
I just remember there was like a cloned kid or something, and it was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
So. But I thought it was fine. Bryce.
I'd do a time jump. I'd go to like 2030 and have like freaking dinosaurs everywhere and make it like a post-apocalyptic survival film trying to survive around the dinosaurs. And then you got a lot of then you don't have to wait till the final scene to be chased by dinosaurs and stuff, and you just get right into it. So
okay.
But
maybe it's call Scarlett. Tell your assistant to call Scarlett.
Yeah.
You know who also would like to call Scarlett? Fanboy Collectibles. I don't know. Who wouldn't? I think she lives in New York.
She's on speed dial. I've got her on my cell phone.
Check it out. There's all kinds of statues. X-Men 97 statues. There's Iron Studios Ahsoka statues. There's even a quarter-scale Gozer, if that's what you like.
I noticed that, and I got to say, my favorite thing up for pre-order this week is the Conan statue from Mezco. It's amazing.
It's really freaking cool. I gotta say, it is so Frazetta, but it's also,
But it looks just like Arnold.
That's what I'm saying.
Nailed it.
I'm saying it's like the Frazetta, but they just,
It's like if Frazetta painted.
And that's what I'm saying.
Arnold
it's
as Conan and made a statue out of it.
That kind of perfect fusion of those two perceptions of those two kind of takes on Conan, and it's very cool.
It's big too. Yeah, very cool.
All kinds of stuff. There's even a Hot Toys Jack Sparrow if you don't hate Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
But which is interesting. They're talking about rebooting that too. But Pops and Sideshow and Hot Toys and tons of statues and all kinds of stuff. It's just a plethora of stuff. So check those guys out, fanboycollectibles.com. check them out at their store in Newtown, Connecticut, and tell them the regular Joe saying. There's just no shortage of stuff to get.
I
Check
will
out their
tell you,
website.
Those
Plenty of stuff on there.
X-Men 97 statues could be very expensive for me. They're very.
You get all of them.
That's what I'm saying. You need all of them.
There you go.
But that would be a cool display, having at least the core team together. Now that we're out of the ad, I will say if you have any inclination to watch X-Men 97, it's so freaking cool. They've taken the mature...
Do I need to have watched the original series? Because I haven't.
If you have a basic familiarity with the X-Men...
I did in 1997.
If you have basic familiarity with the X-Men, you're going to get it. They took the age level of this up so that people that watched this, 25 years ago are now 25 years older and more mature. And the thing,
I'm not more mature, and I watched it.
It's more mature, okay? and it's just great. It is absolutely great. They kept the animation style the same, but they improved it. So it's like, it fits with it, but it's not, it's more modern and more updated, and just so beyond what my expectations were. Super pleased with it. So
Pam and I used to watch that for some reason, like way back when it was. I don't know, what was it even on? I don't even remember. Fox or something?
I think it was
probably on Fox.
I'll tell you, after Batman the Animated Series, it's one of my favorite animated things, and it was really good. It's honestly, to this day, it's probably the best adaptation of the X-Men ever. I mean, because in the movies they took a lot of liberties and they did a lot of things, and some of the things like I'll say this: the Dark Phoenix saga told in this, of the 3 versions, including 2 extremely expensive movie versions, is the only one that is watchable. So, like I said, if you have any inclination to check it out, definitely do, and you'll be super pleased. So.
Maybe once I finish the other 2 cartoons I'm watching.
Exactly. Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. It kind of sidelined the other 2, and so, but I'll get caught up. So.
Okay, so we're talking about aliens. So the 2 things are, there is a new movie coming out in August. There's a teaser for called Alien Romulus, directed by a guy named Fede Alvarez. He's directed more horror type movies, and I think that fits into his genre. I mean, there's not a ton out there about this other than this like minute and 40
just the
second
teaser is really all that's out there.
But and Ridley Scott did produce this. Whether he jumped on after the guy was doing it, I read some quotes from the guy, and he's like, "Yeah, Ridley saw a cut and he loved it." And he also showed it to James Cameron. Same thing. But I know we've not loved Prometheus. I don't think we've loved Alien Covenant. And I don't like horror movies. So this feels like a horror movie, but this feels like Alien to me.
And that's where I'm a little dubious, because I watched the teaser and I just see what feels like a remake of Alien.
Let's do Alien with a young, pretty relatable cast. Okay, that's what this looks like. And
it feels like with a little aliens thrown in.
Just because there's more
which you
of
gotta,
the
you
aliens.
got to do just to get the pace up there.
If it's
honestly,
really just another ship that gets infested with aliens and there's going to be one person that survives at the end, it's like, what was the point?
There's got to be some kind of twist to push this a little forward.
There's got to be something. The other thing, honestly, the vibe that I got was New Mutants. I looked at this and I said, they're taking this thing and they're trying to shoehorn it into a horror thing without, and just with, like I said, a bunch of running young people and I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know what to think. I would like to see more of a trailer. I mean, again, if it's all like horror and gore, I think Alien was smarter than that.
It was smarter than that. So let's talk about this for a second. So Alien, very good. Groundbreaking, changes a lot of people's perception of what sci-fi is supposed to look like. Okay. Aliens totally shifts gears, absolutely amazing film from a different direction. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant follow-up. I kind of look at these as like, not a perfect analogy, but like Terminator and Terminator 2, taking something that really should not have had a follow-up and coming back with a follow-up that was just as strong and stronger, quite a bit,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, totally.
So then everything else since then.
That was
true.
the question.
That's
true about the Terminator franchise for the most
That's
part,
what I
too.
was just going to say.
I don't think that.
Well, it's
Terminator Dark Fate is
Yeah.
one of the
Yeah.
all-time
Epic.
great movies.
But I'm saying every time they've tried to go back to the well, it's been more diluted. And
But you know what the two movies we're talking about here have in common, right? Was James Cameron. James Cameron came in and made Terminator.
I know that.
2.
I
Now,
just-
granted, Terminator was his movie, so he made a sequel of his own movie. But when he stepped into the Alien franchise, he took a movie and I know I've said this before. He, to me, elevated the whole. I love Alien, but Aliens to me is a far
I
superior
don't think
movie.
it's okay. I disagree on the elevated. I think if he had made
Different.
a straight up sequel to Alien, okay, it would have had to have been it would have had to have looked like this trailer looks, and it would have been forgettable. And I think for him to do what he did and completely move this and take what he had, take where it ended, and say, we could make an action movie out of this and a kick-ass action movie out of this was brilliant. Was absolutely brilliant without cheapening the original. Okay, this isn't a Beneath the Planet of the Apes. Okay, this is its own thing, and it's absolutely brilliant. It's like, let's take the antagonist from Terminator and make him a protagonist. It's like, again, James Cameron, like I said, it's done some amazing things. But this franchise, if you just look at it, like I said, it's
that's the thing. There's how many things are in this franchise? There's 2 more Aliens,
Yeah.
3 and 4,
yeah.
right? Alien
Resurrection. Yep.
Then there's 1 or 2, and I'm not sure. There's definitely 1 Alien versus Predator.
No, there's more than one. I think
There's probably 2
or
of those.
3.
Do I even, do
Then
you even
there's-
count those? I don't count
In
those.
the
Well,
universe.
the studio does, but I
Okay,
don't.
I honestly, I don't think I've seen them.
I'm only counting them because they're
Right,
as
yeah, I
bad as
gotcha.
everything else. Then there's Covenant, there's Prometheus, and then there's Covenant. So there's 2 good things and
Wait,
6.
so we count those even though Ridley Scott kept insisting that they weren't? Okay, never mind. Yeah.
Well, but here's the other thing too, and I'm the easy to please guy. I was okay with Prometheus because I thought it was setting up a trilogy.
Yeah.
And I was disappointed with Covenant, and then I was even more disappointed when they decided not to make the 3rd movie.
Yep.
And I was also somewhat okay with Terminator Salvation because it was setting up a trilogy of movies, and then they decided not to make the rest
Right.
of them.
Yeah.
So I've been burned so many times with this stuff.
It really, I'll tell you, Prometheus was first, right? So
Yes.
Prometheus really felt like it wasn't received well enough, so they pivoted, and the pivot didn't give them any room to go with a 3rd film, and no one cared. But again, so we also there's an Alien series out there, right?
Yeah, which is totally unrelated to the movie. The series takes place on Earth.
That's what I'm saying. It's
But there is but here's a franchise that basically lives on 2 movies, two of 8 movies, which is frightening.
and that's what so that's the thing. I'm saying
And here comes a 9th movie.
here's a 9th movie when I'll go back and watch the first 2 every few years.
Yeah.
I never have a desire to see anything else, any of those other films again.
No.
And I just don't know. I
But
mean,
it's
I
just
don't know
surprising how it-
I love the idea that Sigourney Weaver talked about when we went to see Aliens.
Oh,
She's
yeah, yeah.
about basically making a sequel to Aliens that ignores everything that followed.
That would have been great.
And I don't know if you can trust
Yeah.
IMDb exactly, but the Alien TV series, it says it's a prequel set 3 decades before the events of the 1979 film. And it takes place on Earth. That doesn't seem to fit with the... I don't know.
As long as it's contained, okay? I mean, if it's like Predator and it happens in the jungle and it stays in the jungle, Yeah.
There's so much time frame in there. Why does it have to be then? I mean, there's 57 years between Alien and Aliens. You could have totally had something live in that time frame.
And I think that's what this new movie is. Right? I think it's before Aliens, but after Alien.
Oh, yeah. I didn't get the sense of that.
I think.
But yeah, it looks like a ripoff of Alien. Maybe they do something different. They do have jumping face huggers, which we know they jump.
Yeah.
But maybe this only works if they've got something different. And I don't know what that is.
I agree with you, but so far what they've shown us looks completely not different. It's
I would
Alien.
love to be surprised by this. I'm not expecting to be.
You know what? I don't think any of us have seen. Speaking of Predator, did anyone see that Prey movie?
I just watched it the other day.
Did you?
Yeah.
People talk. I've been meaning to watch it. People talk about like it's really good and very different.
It is really good.
What
and
are we
different.
talking about?
It's a movie that is in the. It's in the.
It's set in the American Indian culture, and it takes place in the past. But basically, a predator ship drops a predator on Earth to basically go hunting, and he's dealing
Like
with
Predator.
Yeah. But he's dealing with a tribe of Indians
in the past.
in the past. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
It's on Hulu.
That's I got to check it out. Maybe we should
It's
all
called
watch it.
Prey, and supposedly they're making a sequel to it, or they've already made a sequel to it.
Yeah, someone was talking about it. Maybe we should all watch that and talk about it.
Because that makes sense. There's no reason that like the predators that came to Earth to hunt had
Was the first time.
This wasn't a hunting ground. They hit every couple of centuries.
Right.
You know.
And they may not have always been successful because if it bleeds, we can kill it.
Yes.
That movie came out. I think it was dropped on Hulu during COVID because I don't think it was originally made to go to streaming, but I think it was one of those. Well, we might as well go to streaming thing. It's better than your typical straight to
I
streaming
wonder if
movie.
does it feel like remember we saw the Thing prequel, which was actually better than you
Right.
thought it would
way,
be.
way better. Yeah. The Thing
Yeah.
prequel also named The Thing.
The Thing.
Well, if you
Let's
guys
watch
want to
that.
watch Prey, watch it. I watched it while I was working, and I had the sound down. I would rewatch it like full blast, and I'd rewatch it again. But I did recently, just like literally a week or two ago, I watched it.
I've been meaning to watch it, I just never have.
Yeah.
But anyway, so who knows? We'll put a pin in Alien Romulus and see maybe if it does something clever, maybe it's worth it. So
I always go into these with high hopes, and I just oftentimes get disappointed.
I have not gone into anything
You
Aliens
do, Barry.
with high hopes.
We got
since-
you're the good one.
I
Okay?
try.
I don't think since Alien 3 have I gone into any Alien with high
You know,
hopes.
I look around the room here. I've got Ripley. I've got multiple aliens. I've got all the ships. And it's like I love this franchise. There's just so little to love.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
you know-
Me too. I got a whole top shelf of alien stuff.
I mean, I've got the pulse rifle. I got a face hugger. I've got those amazing dog tags you made us.
But most of that is based off of
two movies.
movies.
great
So I'm
movies.
saying, I
That's
do
the
not
thing.
think
This is how strong this franchise is. It lives off of 2 movies and 6 failures.
And there was
That's
a
what
lot.
I would
There
say
was a lot of
it's-
cool shit in those 2
It's
movies.
a testament to how good those 2 first movies are that the 6 movies that came after it didn't damage
Didn't
those
ruin
2
it.
movies in any
Yeah.
way. Yeah.
It's
absolutely
like
true.
Highlander, really. No, I'm sorry.
There can be only 2 in this
There
case.
can be only 2.
We do have to watch Highlander 2, though. We
Oh
have
my
to
god!
watch
Yes,
that.
we do. We do.
We have to watch
We have
that.
to
That's
arrange
gotta
that
be
because
our.
that needs to be with lots of alcohol.
Yeah,
That needs to be our live commentary. Let's set that up soon.
Barry,
Okay.
you will be astonished. I'm just saying,
You will be.
the turn that they make, the U-turn that they make, it is just cinematic history. It's just absolutely brilliant.
But it may not be as effective on him because when
Because
we
he's
saw
not, he
it,
has no attachment.
we
to the-
loved the original Highlander.
Like I said,
He's not
very
going in
few
loving
times
Highlander.
Have I sat in the theater and said, "What the fuck"? And I did at that moment.
I can tell you, I can remember 2 times where it's happened to me: Alien 3,
yeah,
and Terminator.
Dark
whatever
Fate.
that-
Yes, okay. It was a
Fate.
Dark Fate moment for me.
No. Dark Fate.
No, for him. Okay,
For me.
Again, in
That movie lost me in the first 2 minutes.
beach,
You know that.
the beach bar scene.
But you've learned to love it,
Yes.
haven't you?
Well, it's the nuanced performance that Amelia Clark delivers that really.
No, that's not that.
I know, I'm
That's
teasing.
Genesis.
I'm teasing. I know it's Genesis.
You just have gotten over your weird obsession with Edward Furlong. That's what you need
That's
to get
what
over.
it is. It's
No,
a little
you
creepy.
just
Barry.
you can't take a somewhat beloved character and kill it in the opening scene of a movie.
I don't
Kill
think
it.
he's beloved. I thought he was a punk ass. He
Yep.
deserved it.
and
deserved
de-age
it.
him and then
and then kill him.
kill
He
him.
deserved it. I didn't think if we're comparing Terminator to Alien, I thought 3 was not horrific,
but
was
just
okay.
not. It's exactly. It
was. I would say.
Are we
if
talking Terminator 3 or Alien 3?
Terminator.
I'm talking
3
about Terminator 3.
is watchable because there's a very hot female Terminator in there, and that was a new thing.
Who's lovely. We've met her and she's lovely.
She's very
Yes,
lovely.
she is.
person.
But
Anyways,
I didn't think it was.
But it was
didn't
no,
live
no
up
new
to-
ground
was a
was
10.
no new ground was covered. Nothing was. I mean, it's yes, it was entertaining, but it doesn't hold up the way the other two do.
But it's
But it was
also
an
almost
interest-
impossible to come off of Terminator 2 and
I
follow
agree with
up.
that. I agree with that.
So,
And
but I'm saying if
the
T2 is
only
a
reason
10,
Terminator
T3
3
is a
exists
6.
is because there was still money out there to be made. And
T3
and
is below a 6, Dave.
I don't know about that.
Terminator 3,
Yeah.
a 6 is generous. 6 is
That's what
really
I'm
generous.
saying.
Okay. Then what's Terminator Salvation? I'll give you the numbers. Terminator, the original 8.5. T2 a 10. T3 a 6. What's after that? Terminator Salvation a 5. Terminator Genesis a 2. Terminator Dark Fate a 9. I don't know.
You're only giving it a 9 to rub it in my nose. You don't think
Okay,
it's a
so
9.
I thought it was good.
I agree with
my
all
legitimate
those
number
numbers,
for that.
but I would combine them and
legitimate
divide
number
them
for
up
that
separately.
is 7.5.
Yeah.
I don't think Terminator 3 is a 6, even with Chris Hardwick and what's her name in it. I don't think it's a 6.
Fat Chris Hardwick, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
It was Fat Chris Hardwick. Look, Christina Loken.
Christina
And
Loken,
Claire
great.
Danes.
Claire Danes, but Claire Danes and Fat Chris Hardwick don't save that movie.
I don't. That freaking chase with that giant truck was awesome.
Have you guys watched this movie again? I have never gone back after the first
Yes,
time I saw that.
I have.
No, I've seen it not in.
I have
not
I'm telling
seen
you,
it
I've
probably
only
in the
ever
last
seen
10
that in
years,
theaters,
but I have
and I
rewatched it
walked
as an
out and see, you guys think I watch all this stuff, but I just
No, you
don't
watch all kinds of other stuff.
That's what I'm saying. I don't rewatch stuff that I don't
Yeah,
like.
you've said that.
And I think that gives me a lot of extra time. I really
But
do.
Salvation was horrible.
Yeah.
And so was Genesis.
so
Genesis
I
is
didn't
the
think
worst.
Salvation was horrible.
I will never devote
at all.
time to
Salvation
anything-
ends on a
anything
cliffhanger
after the
that-
sin-
It made
yeah.
no sense.
No, it did make sense.
The first two, and then Dark Fate, which I can watch anytime, really. Yeah, that's it.
I like Dark
Fuck
Fate.
you
I
both.
don't think it's bad. It's not bad. It's
I'm sorry.
good. It's the third best one.
Yeah.
Todd?
I'm never gonna fucking call you Carl.
Terminator 3 is better than Dark Fate.
It is not. It
No
is
way.
not.
No way.
Nope. No
Right,
way.
so now let's talk about the Alien 3 director's cut, because that's really good.
Okay.
God.
Let's keep on track here.
Yes.
Okay. So now we're going to. There's a comic that just came out called. It's a Marvel comic. What if Carter Burke lived? Carter Burke was the Paul Reiser character. With
In
the
Alien.
concept that came. What did I say?
No, I'm just. I know you changed gears, but we didn't say that.
Paul Reiser,
it's from
Aliens.
Aliens. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
And it's not just Paul Reiser actually co-wrote it, right?
Yes.
I don't know. It's a concept by if you really read it. He didn't write it, I don't think. But anyway, and if you want Carter Burke's ID card that he gives Ripley, I'm selling those. So just reach out to me.
Cool.
Go to Dave's Etsy page. He
So-
doesn't know he doesn't have one.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Soon.
Soon.
Sooner than you think, probably.
Yeah.
This may be worse than the trailer.
Okay, I will just say, I thought he wrote it, and I was going to make a comment that he obviously has not read a comics since like the '90s, because I haven't seen a thought balloon in a decade and a half, and
I was excited for this, but guess what? What if Carter Burke lived? No one cares.
well,
Sorry,
he doesn't
I'm
even
sorry,
care.
no.
It's like,
Well, but and I'm not going to necessarily defend this because I didn't think it was great. But I don't think it's so much to me what if he lived as much as what if the story took a different turn than it took.
They really didn't tell us anything. There is a part 2, and I don't know how many parts of this comic there are.
but they also set up for Ripley and Hicks to come back, right?
No. I don't think so. No, one of the
dropped-
things I liked about it was that he dropped them, he dropped them on the
In
prison planet.
cryogenic chambers.
Which they
Right,
landed.
but then they crash and die. That panel was setting up Alien
that
3.
panel was Alien 3 happened exactly as you saw it in the movie. And now I'm going to go on to my life, which is so not interesting. It's not even funny.
That was the Wrath of Khan.
I was thinking
where they put them on setting up for
misread
5.
I totally thought that was setting it up for them to.
No.
I thought that was
no.
setting
Like,
it up
that
for them
would
to
have been
go back
interesting.
to for them to show up later and kick his ass.
I actually liked that it tied in that they tied it to Alien 3 that way. I don't like what happens in Alien 3, but I like that this comic book basically made it so that didn't change.
Until you got to where nothing else happened, you would have loved for them to have stayed alive. I mean, and then they shift gears to 35 years later with some other character that you don't know who the hell it is.
All right, so you're right, by the way, Dave. Adam F. Goldberg, the guy that behind the Goldbergs, was one of the writers on this, and a guy named Hans.
Yeah.
I'm not going to try to pronounce
Gruber.
that last name.
Hans Gruber.
Not Hans Gruber, but yeah, concept by Paul
Concept,
Reiser. Yeah.
Here's the concept. Hey, what do you think? What if Carter Burke lived? Then whatever. That's all you got.
Well, the concept is what if Carter Burke lived, but still got screwed over by the company and turned out to be a sad, bitter old man. I thought this was a one and done. I didn't realize that there was going to be...
If it was a one and done, it'd be even worse than it is because there's nothing happened at all.
Well, he becomes an old man. His daughter wants nothing to do... Because basically they pin the entire disaster on LV-426 on him. So he's like the scourge of the universe. And they basically put him off in some, space station somewhere.
Yeah, it's just not interesting.
His daughter won't even talk to him. Yeah, it wasn't great, but I thought it was a one and done when it said part to be continued. I'm like, oh, this is actually moving forward as like a story.
I was disappointed. I thought it'd be like, oh, here could be something really cool, but hey, maybe it's just a setup.
Well, and 50% of the comic
right now
was...
you're going to see Ripley and Hicks again.
You think?
I just reread that thing. I'm telling you, no, they're going to pivot on that. They're going to pivot on that.
We're going to see them 35 years later?
Hicks is not going to die, okay? And they're going to come back and...
But there's a 30-something year time jump here.
Yeah, there's also cryogenics. I'm telling you. They're going to come back and kick his ass.
I hope so.
Nobody wants to read 2 or 3 issues of Carter Burke. I'm telling you right now.
Well,
despite
Paul
the fact
Reiser
that
does.
whoever this artist, okay, draws Ripley hideously, yeah, we're going to see them again.
Well, and so I'll say this too: the art in this is not very good.
It's
just
not.
In general, it's not very good. And 50% of this book is retelling scenes from a movie that we all know every frame of.
Yeah,
So
it's the first third. I will say, the scenes of him that look good are like done over photos, are clearly done over photos, because like you see expressions and stuff like that right from the movie.
Yeah, I hate that we're
it
talking
looks
about
nothing like him.
Yeah, I hate that we're talking about
No,
alien,
I'm saying
two alien
the
things.
older
and
him looks. I'm saying, but the stuff that actually
It's new,
looks
yeah.
like him
Yeah.
is done from screen grabs.
Well, we're still stuck with the 2 movies because this new stuff isn't good either.
It's just. I mean, I was hoping that we would actually be raving about this, and it's just not good.
Yeah, I'm hoping we get more out of the movie. We'll see. Maybe there's some smart twist and we'll go from there.
Because if there isn't, there was no reason to remake this.
Yeah.
Because if it's just basically a retelling of Alien on a different ship with a different crew,
they got to do something.
I have yet to see any motivation in going back to this story other than a cash grab. I mean, this is like late Planet of the Apes right now. This is
or it's like Freddy Krueger 6. You know, it's like the same story over and over.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We're going to spend less money. We're going to make less money, but it's okay.
This seems like a low budget thing, but anyway. And I'll tell you, audience, listeners, we went into this looking like, oh, maybe there's going to be some cool alien thing. We didn't think we'd be disappointed because it's like, oh, we're going to have a show that we're going to talk about two things that aren't any good. Sorry.
Yeah.
That wasn't our intention.
Yeah, we certainly didn't
Not
just
the
plan
point.
on shitting on everything today.
Yeah. Have you heard of any of the people in this film before?
No, I have not.
Yeah. That's unusual. So,
Well, but maybe not.
movie.
Maybe they purposely cast a young, unknown group of people.
or they cast people they could get cheap. If you look at
probably
every
both.
single previous film, there's been somebody in there that headlined it from other things. Okay? Not the case here. This is the first one with basically an unknown cast. If you look at what these people have done, it's like, yeah, okay. So,
All right, well, we'll see. Anyway, sorry about that, people. Don't get excited about alien stuff yet. But
We love the
keep an eye on
franchise.
it.
we
just
love it.
don't
We
love
just
mo-
keep hoping. We're
Yes,
like,
exactly.
yeah.
We're Barry on this one.
We're burying this one. Yeah.
Let's go. What's in the box?
Show you with the box. Who's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the box?
Regular Joe's What's in the Box.
Tom, I asked you first last time, and you weren't ready. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. I
Okay.
just want to make sure.
I showed you pictures
Tom,
of
what's
this
in the box?
during the week. This is the only Moon Knight figure, licensed Moon Knight figure that I didn't have. It's Revoltech. This thing is insane.
Revoltech.
Revoltech.
If you're disgusted by your toys,
That's right. Exactly.
they're so great they're revolting.
It's based on the kind of mid 2000s Moon Knight when he wore kind of like a Kevlar paneled suit. It was from the Vengeance of Moon Knight, the original Vengeance of Moon Knight series, which was really, really good. It's a 10-issue run. You can still get it out there. It's definitely worth reading.
What's that cape made out of?
It is made of fabric, and
with
but
a
it's
lot of
got a
wires in
bunch
it.
of wires in it.
That's cool.
So it poses really, really well. It was one of those times when the artist took a lot of license with the size of the cape. So this way you can make it as big or as small as you want. More points of articulation in this thing than any Moon Knight figure that I own. So it's really cool. Comes with, a couple of the little like Moon Knight blades, more hands than I will ever figure out how to use. Sticks, a couple different facial expressions, kind of typical for these things. Really, really nicely done though. Not cheap. I missed this when it came out, and it sold really quickly. I don't think it was big numbers, and I paid like $20 idiot tax to get it, but super pleased with it. So you can still find them online, but you're going to pay. So that's my thing. Dave, what do you got?
Cool. All right. You guys know about this, but I don't think I talked about it on the show, so I'm going to share pictures because it's downstairs. So in the original Greg Jean auction, our pal Brian Mix bought a Forbidden Planet costume, like the top and the pants that came with some extra shirts. So in the movie, if you don't know, they wore sort of the full costume, and then they had like duty shirts. There were short sleeve shirts. So he and I worked out a sort of trade kind of thing for me to get one of those, and I. Not wanting to get another mannequin for various reasons. No, I wanted, because I have a Star Trek 2009 shirt in a shirt display box, so I wanted to do something like that because it's a short sleeve shirt. And originally, the last time I did the Star Trek one, I built my own box. This time I bought one on Amazon that you sort of put. This is more for basketball jerseys because it's a little more narrow. Sometimes like the football jersey ones, the freaking frames are
Huge.
gigantic.
Yeah.
But this was actually really good, and I think it fit perfectly in there. So I just sent the guys pictures of it. So it's 70 years old, and it's showing a little of its age, but I was able to display it so you could see the rank patch. This shirt is a crewman first class insignia, and the workmanship on the shirt is amazing. Obviously, back in the day, they used to they still make stuff great, but and the material is super thin. In the pictures, it looks way more wrinkled than it does in person. I guess the way the flash took the picture, but so it's hanging in my movie room, sort of on the other side of those doors is my Forbidden Planet poster. So I just one of my favorite movies, and I'm very happy to have anything from it because there's not
really
a ton
cool
of stuff.
piece of history. I mean,
Yeah, we got to see the shirt when we were at your house last, but we didn't see it in the frame and everything. It looks really good.
I got to still work out a couple. I fold the bottom, but I put it onto the backing with magnets. I glued magnets to the back, and so because these things come with sort of this soft thing that you put in the shirt and you pin it all in so it's nice and tight. Didn't want to put pins in it. So I sort of glued magnets to the backing and they're holding it on. I'll be honest with you, we'll put the picture up, but the neck had this horrible stain on it. So what I did was I put a piece of acrylic there, and that's where I put the
plaque.
The laser cut.
It looks
sign.
fantastic, and I got to say that was the one thing. Is like was maybe hanger damage, maybe from a rusting hanger or something.
It could be from or it could just be sweat. Could have been, but it was 70 years just aged.
Very rusty, and the way you dealt with it, it looks great. I don't think I would have thought of that, but it's almost like the paper that's on old, the shape of the paper that's on old dry cleaner hangers.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
and it fits in perfectly there, and totally obscures the issue. So well done.
I'm very excited to have that. So that's that.
Yeah, looks great.
Barry, what's in the box?
So we often talk about the how much we love finite collections and things that there aren't that many items in a run, or that you can sort of go after something and fairly easily complete the run and have one of each items. And I recently, just the other day, was able to finish one of my collections. About a year or so ago, I started collecting the die-cast vintage Star Wars vehicles. And there's 11 of them altogether. 10 of them are fairly easy to get, and one of them is near impossible. But I received in the mail the die-cast TIE Bomber.
Nice.
And I got a stand for it, which is cool for two reasons. One, it helps display it in a better way than just having it sitting on a shelf. And two, the stand actually clips under both wings and supports the wings, because these wings tend to droop because they're so much bigger than
Is
than
that
the rest of the
same
ship.
stand company that?
Yes, that Lane's.
That's great. They make such cool stuff.
Yeah,
A fairly rare item. They make a stand for it.
they make a stand for all 11 vehicles in that line, and each one is different.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that's cool.
But yeah, this
Where'd you
is
find it on eBay or?
I found it on a Facebook group. A guy posted it for make a deal, like Deal or No Deal kind of thing, and I threw a competitive number at him, but he said no, and then he added a buy it now price to it after it didn't sell for a few days, and I started messaging him on his side, and we ended up working out a deal that I was comfortable with. So these things are hard to find at all, but very hard to find in good shape, because the die-cast metal is always chipped, and the white plastic on them yellows like really bad.
Yeah.
This one, I was holding out. If I was going to spend money, I wanted, like a lot of money, I wanted it to be clean. And this one is really clean. No
that
chips.
looks big. Is that the biggest one of the lot?
Yeah, I mean, the Star Destroyer is big and the Falcon is big, but this is pretty big, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have all 10 except for that one.
Yeah.
So, but that one looks definitely bigger than everything else.
I'll tell you off the air what I paid for it.
Yeah, I'm curious. Because I honestly have not even pursued it. It's just sort of not in my head.
Oh, I've been pursuing, because you know me. Once I get something
Yeah.
in my head, I had to have it. But I wasn't going to spend $500 on a crappy one. Like if I was going to spend a lot of money, I wanted to get a good one. So I'm very happy with this one and the condition it's in. Those stands, by the way, I ended up buying stands for 4 of the vehicles. I got stands for the Darth Vader's TIE Fighter, the regular TIE Fighter, the Slave one, and this one. The Slave one stand is really cool because it's a flat upright that has 4 holes in the back for the engines to fit in, and it holds the ship in flight.
Smart. I should have that business.
So
And that's Barry. Lane is not spelled the way you might, right? It's
like LIA.
Yes.
Or ILANs or
yeah. But again, really cool stuff. If you collect vintage Star Wars figures,
I have their 12, the original 12 stands.
Yeah, they make a number of different things. We saw them at Celebration, was it?
Yeah, that's where we found them at Celebration, and I've bought a bunch of stuff from them over the years.
It's obscure stuff that nobody makes, but they do a great job with it, and very, very cool.
If you're a vintage Star Wars collector, like they make a stand for the trash compactor monster from the Death Star playset.
Oh yeah, no,
they make a stand for the Hannon Carbonite slab, like things like that nobody would ever make.
Right, and
cool.
basically the alternative to buying from them is making it yourself. And if you're not Dave, buy from them. They're great. So
and yeah, I mean, Dave has a laser cutter. But if you don't own a laser cutter, it's better to buy a $12 stand than to invest in a laser cutter.
It's good for them. They've cut out a niche for them. I wish I thought of that.
Yeah, they make good stuff. So I'll put up some pictures of
we'll put up all this stuff this week. Cool. All right. So next week, maybe we watch Discovery.
I'm going to watch Discovery.
I'm going to watch it.
I will watch
Maybe
Discovery by the time we record next. I will have watched it. So.
Yeah, me too. Maybe we watch that movie Prey. Maybe I finish 3-Body Problem.
There's a lot of maybes.
Maybe we finish, the last episode of The Walking Dead.
Yeah, we got to get back to
last
that.
night.
So I will catch up.
I think 3 or 4 in. There's only 2 left, maybe. So
I just watched what I think was the 4th one. And I'm on the fence of whether I'm going to finish it.
You're going to finish it.
There's 2 more left.
We committed to finish it, Barry. You got to finish it.
Wait, the episode I watched was in fact the 4th one. It was I was screaming at the TV watching.
Was it in the
So it's
apartment?
walking.
Yes.
You got to finish it.
It was a
Barry.
little.
We committed to finish it. We got to do it.
It was the one in
It's
the
only-
apartment where I'm just like,
Yeah, it was a little like
get the hell out of there already. What are you doing?
I know.
And I wanted this to be a fun. Like they're back together, they found each other, and it's not fun.
Yeah.
No, it's like I don't need
spoil it for
relationship
me.
bullshit.
I had high hopes.
That's of the 4 I've watched. That's the worst episode.
Okay, I'm only 3.
Anyway,
I'm
all
only
right,
3.
enough of that. All right, enough of us. We'll have something next week. God knows what it'll be. And thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.